Welcome to Out of Bounds, where the first video on the channel featured the Hong Kong West Kowloon Station. Opened in September 2018, this busy high-speed train station is now the only rail border crossing point operating in Hong Kong. That was not always the case though. For decades prior to 2020, there was another cross-border train station in Hong Kong, served by a number of conventional intercity trains. Today, we get to see one of these special trains as well as other pieces of Hong Kong's railway heritage. Let's go! Good morning from Hung Hom Station. This major station is located on the east side of Kowloon, not far from Victoria Harbour, and is today accessed by both the East Rail Line and Tuen Ma Line of MTR, which is Hong Kong's integrated metro system. Hung Hom Station opened in 1975, at the time officially known as Kowloon Station. For much of its history up until early 2020, it was also a border crossing station served by intercity trains to mainland China. By early 2020, Hung Hom Station operated fairly frequent services to Guangzhou and less frequent, longer distance trains to Beijing and Shanghai. These so-called Intercity Through trains fell victim to the COVID-19 pandemic, with services suspended on January 30th, 2020 and subsequently terminated without resumption. Since 2024, the MTR Corporation has utilized the former Intercity Through train area to run a gallery called the Station Rail Voyage exhibition. The exhibition itself is free, but prior online registration is required. If you arrive a bit early, there is a food court upstairs with train-inspired seating areas. Visitors line up and enter the exhibition near exit C1, which was formerly the ticketing lobby of the Intercity Through trains. Upon entering, visitors are immediately brought through a tunnel that evokes a sense of time travel. The wall on the left side shows pre-electrification diesel trains running on the Kowloon-Canton Railway, transitioning to the upgraded and renamed East Rail Line with the current R trains. The right side shows Hung Hom Station, both as it was being constructed in the 1970s and how it looks today. Next, we enter an area full of railway signaling devices. Historically, the East Rail Line used 4-aspect signals with different patterns and colors of lights. The system has since been upgraded though, and now the signal lights always stay blue, which means conductors should follow the onboard signals inside the driver's cab. MTR has always been known to have appealing visual communication design. Here you see perhaps the most famous example, where the unique coloring and tiling patterns of many MTR stations are assembled together. Both the standard serif font and the dynamic Chinese calligraphy used at stations have become iconic over the years. This area used to be the waiting room for the Intercity Through trains. Now, a number of vintage posters decorate the area. The exhibits here also include photos and commemorative items from both KCR Corporation and MTR Corporation, before the two were merged in 2007 to form the MTR today.
Thank you for traveling on the MTR. Hung Hom 呢個係東鐵線嘅尾站，紅磡這是東鐵線的終點站。Hung Hom, end of the East Rail Line。下一站紅磡，乘客可以轉乘西鐵線，右邊嘅車門將會打開。
Next, we go downstairs to see the main attractions of this exhibition. The escalators lead to platforms 5 and 6 of Hung Hom Station, which used to be the very departure platforms of the Intercity Through trains until their cancellation in January 2020. Let's first take a look at some of the other railway assets on display. The oldest one is this EMD G16 diesel-electric locomotive. The G16 locomotive served in many railway systems around the world during the second half of 20th century. The KCR Corporation imported a total of 4 units for service on what is now the East Rail Line. This particular Unit 56 was produced in the United States by Electromotive Diesel and delivered in 1961. The G16 locomotives were withdrawn from passenger service in 1983 following the full electrification of the East Rail Line. One other surviving G16, Unit 58, rests on one of the side tracks at Shatin Station. Next is the original electric trains for the East Rail Line, manufactured by Metro Camel in England and entered into service in 1982. These trains are affectionately known as Yellowhead due to their characteristic frontal exterior. The second-class interior is fitted with orange transverse seats, though there are 2 configurations with different seat densities. There are also some very retro ball-shaped grab handles. We circle around outside to reach the first-class compartment. Here, the atmosphere is quite different, with 2+2 jade green soft padded seats, and there aren't even any overhead handrails. One interesting feature is that the first-class cars actually have a separate space to carry luggage, which you certainly won't see on any East Rail Line trains today. These original Metro Camel EMUs underwent refurbishment between 1996 and 1999, and the subsequent version is known as the Midlife Refurbishment, or MLR trains. If you've visited Hong Kong in the years immediately prior to the COVID-19 pandemic and taken the East Rail Line, then these MLR trains would have been the ones you rode on. Second-class compartment has a classic green shaded interior, metal bench seats, and red grab handles. The updated interior perfectly showcases the transition of East Rail Line from a longer distance regional rail to a high-capacity urban metro line. The first-class compartment still has 2+2 transverse seats. These now have green velvet, somewhat similar to bus seats in Hong Kong. The MLR trains have since been replaced by the Hyundai Rotem R trains. This particular unit at the exhibition completed the MLR's final revenue service on May 6, 2022, marking the end of 40 years of service. When the Station Rail Voyage exhibition first opened in April 2024, it only had these 3 trains on display. However, since January 2025, MTR added an Intercity Through Train unit to the exhibit. This particular model, known as the KTT, or Kowloon Canton Railway Through Train, is a unique train set that ran cross-border regional services between Hong Kong and Guangdong from 1998 to 2020. Its locomotives are manufactured by SLM and ABB in Switzerland, while the passenger carriages are by Kinki Sharyo of Japan. The KTT is also a double-decker train, which for a variety of reasons is kind of a rarity in this part of the world nowadays. Right after entering, there is a kitchenette area. Then the interior splits into 2 levels. The first-class compartment is arranged as 2+2 seating. There's overhead storage racks, though depending on the luggage, the space might be a bit small. The seats are soft and quite comfortable, with embroidered headrest covers and movable armrests. Leg space is generous. Each passenger gets a seatback pocket and a very large foldable table. From the lower level, you get a unique perspective very close to the platform. I usually try to take a look at the bathrooms, but on this display unit, the bathrooms are all locked. The upper level has a similar layout with plenty of headspace. Of course, you get a much more elevated view from here. The luggage storage area between the two levels may look pretty big, but keep in mind this carriage can seat up to 112 passengers, so in practice space was probably quite tight, especially around holidays. This is one reason that prevented more wide-scale adoption of double-decker trains in China. Next is a premium class carriage. Seats here are even bigger with a 1+2 layout, and the headrests are much deeper. There are also some decorative accents throughout the compartment. During KTT's service, trains by China Railway also ran the Intercity Through Train service. Both the KTT and China Railway trains operated the shorter regional route to Guangzhou, while the longer services to Beijing and Shanghai were exclusively operated by China Railway. This service pattern is inherited in spirit in the current cross-border high-speed rail services, where you can see both the MTR-operated Vibrant Express train sets and China Railway train sets running between Hong Kong West Kowloon and Guangzhou, while further destinations are served exclusively by China Railway EMUs. The KTT ran up until the service's cancellation in early 2020, so you can see some fairly recent posters inside. Prior to the cancellation, the KTT ran 3 daily round trips to Guangzhou Dong Station with intermediate stop in Changping Station. The whole trip would take about 2 hours. Because of the cross-border nature of this service, passenger would first complete Hong Kong exit procedure at Hung Hom Station, board the train, then clear into mainland China after disembarking at their destination stations. As such, these very platforms were once part of Hong Kong's cross-boundary restricted area. After Intercity Through trains were suspended on January 30th, 2020, MTR is reported to have stopped maintenance and spare parts procurement for the KTT in April 2022. Although the high-speed trains out of Hong Kong West Kowloon resumed cross-border service on January 15th, 2023, the Intercity Through trains remained suspended until July 31st, 2024, when the Chinese General Administration of Customs announced the closure of a number of mainland rail border checkpoints, thus officially terminating the Intercity Through trains. Today, the legacy of Intercity Through trains still lives on in a number of regularly scheduled services. These include the G897-898 high-speed sleeper between Hong Kong and Beijing, which we have covered on this channel. The G899-900, which is a similar high-speed sleeper between Hong Kong and Shanghai, and the Z99-100, the original Intercity Through train to Shanghai, though with service now terminating at Guangzhou Baiyun Station instead. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed this look into Hong Kong's railway heritage. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more travel and transit content. Have a great day, and see you in the next one.